As hundreds of employees are let go from Stellantis, many are wondering what impact this will have on the auto industry.
Have you ever wondered what would happen if your favorite off-road brand suddenly tried to sell you a luxury car at the price of a small house? Well, that's exactly what Jeep is doing right now, slapping eye-watering price tags on their new models and calling it luxury. But here's the real question. Has Jeep completely lost its mind, or is there some genius behind this madness that we're all missing? Today, we're diving deep into this bizarre shift, challenging Jeep's logic and exposing why this new strategy might be the biggest blunder in automotive history. Buckle up, because this is going to be a wild ride. Jeep's unrealistic luxury dream, a recipe for disaster. Jeep, the iconic brand that built its reputation on rugged off-road vehicles, now wants us to believe it's a luxury brand. Yes, you heard that right. Jeep thinks it belongs in the same league as BMW, Lexus, and Mercedes-Benz. But is anyone actually buying this narrative? It's like seeing a fast food joint suddenly trying to sell 5-star gourmet meals. It's confusing, it's awkward, and frankly, it's not working. In the past, Jeep was the embodiment of adventure, a brand known for its toughness and its capability to handle rough terrain. But now, Stellantis, Jeep's parent company, has decided to take a different route. They're pushing models like the Grand Wagoneer and the Grand Cherokee L with price tags north of $100,000. That's right, Jeep is now competing with the likes of the BMW X7 and the Mercedes-Benz GLS. But let's face it, nobody associates Jeep with luxury. It's a brand known for ruggedness, not refinement. This sudden shift is not only confusing their loyal customers, but also making them look desperate to play a game they aren't equipped to win. The misguided strategy of Stellantis. Stellantis, the company pulling the strings behind Jeep, seems to believe that a higher price tag automatically equals a luxury product. They've slapped premium price tags on vehicles that, at their core, are still just dressed up versions of the same rugged off-roaders we've known for years. The Grand Wagoneer, for instance, comes with a starting price of over $120,000. For that kind of money, buyers expect top-tier comfort, cutting-edge technology, and the kind of prestige that only decades of luxury branding can deliver. But what does Jeep actually offer in return? Leather seats, a bigger infotainment screen, and some chrome accents. That's not luxury, that's a standard upgrade package at best. When customers have that much money to spend, they're not looking for a gussied up Jeep. They're looking for a brand that has a legacy of luxury, like Lexus or Audi. By trying to force themselves into this niche, Jeep is alienating its loyal fan base while failing to attract the high-end market they're targeting. Sales data tells a grim story. If Stellantis thought they could fool the market, the sales numbers are proving them wrong. Over the past year, Jeep's high-end models have been sitting on dealership lots longer than ever before. The Grand Wagoneer, which was supposed to be their crown jewel, is seeing dismal sales figures. Even with aggressive incentives, including 0% financing for up to 3 years, these models aren't moving. This isn't just a temporary slump, it's a sign that the market has outright rejected the idea of Jeep as a luxury brand. Meanwhile, competitors like Lexus are thriving. The 2024 Lexus TX, priced at around $70,000, offers genuine luxury features without pretending to be something it's not. It's no surprise that Lexus has seen an 8% increase in sales, while Jeep's luxury segment has taken a nosedive. Customers can tell when they're getting real value versus when a brand is trying to trick them into paying more for less. The disconnect between brand and consumer. The core problem here is that Stellantis has completely misunderstood what the Jeep brand stands for. Jeep's strength has always been its ruggedness, its reliability, and its appeal to those who love adventure. It's the vehicle you take on a road trip, not to a luxury gala. But now, Stellantis wants to turn Jeep into something it's not, a high-end premium brand catering to wealthy buyers. This shift is baffling because it goes against everything that Jeep's existing customers love about the brand. It's almost as if Stellantis believes that adding a higher price tag will magically transform the brand's image overnight. But prestige isn't something you can buy, it's something you earn. BMW and Mercedes-Benz have spent decades building their reputations as luxury brands. Jeep has spent those same decades marketing itself as the go-to choice for rugged off-road performance. Changing that perception isn't just difficult, it's nearly impossible. Growing frustration among dealers. Dealers are also feeling the pain of Stellantis' misguided strategy. Across the country, Jeep dealerships are struggling to move these high-priced models. The Grand Wagoneer, in particular, has become a burden rather than a boon. Dealerships are slashing prices and offering massive discounts just to clear out unsold inventory. Even then, customers are walking away, preferring to buy from brands that actually have a luxury pedigree. For dealerships, this is a nightmare scenario. They're stuck with expensive models that they can't sell, while lower-priced, more practical Jeeps continue to fly off the shelves. The typical Jeep buyer isn't interested in paying luxury prices. They want a vehicle that can handle rough terrain, not one that's designed for show. By trying to appeal to a market that doesn't exist for them, Jeep is not only confusing its customers, but also hurting its own bottom line. A recent survey from Kelley Blue Book revealed that nearly 70% of Jeep owners wouldn't even consider buying the new high-end models like the Grand Wagoneer. The reason? They simply don't see Jeep as a luxury brand. This isn't just bad news for Stellantis. It's a disaster in the making. If they continue down this path, they risk losing their loyal customers without gaining any new ones. Jeep's overpriced models, a customer backlash. Jeep's attempt to rebrand itself as a luxury car maker has created a backlash that Stellantis seemingly didn't anticipate. Customers who once flocked to Jeep showrooms are now leaving, stunned by the absurd prices. Imagine being a loyal Jeep buyer for years, used to spending around $40,000 for a solid, reliable SUV. Now, you walk into a dealership and see a Jeep Grand Wagoneer priced at $120,000. It's an immediate turnoff for most shoppers. The reality is that people who are willing to spend this kind of money are looking for a name that stands for luxury. Think Lexus, Mercedes-Benz, or BMW. These brands offer a legacy of craftsmanship, luxury design, and a driving experience that Jeep simply can't match. Even with all the bells and whistles Stellantis is packing into the Grand Wagoneer, it's still just a Jeep at heart, and consumers know it. They aren't fooled by the flashy upgrades. They want the prestige and the proven track record of a true luxury brand. Financial impact. Jeep is bleeding money. The financial ramifications of Stellantis' decision are becoming painfully clear. The company has invested heavily in retooling factories, launching extensive marketing campaigns, and developing premium features for these so-called luxury models. However, the return on investment has been dismal. Jeep's high-end vehicles aren't selling, and this is leading to huge financial losses. Recent earnings reports show that Jeep's luxury segment has been a massive drain on Stellantis' resources. Instead of boosting profits, the Grand Wagoneer and the Grand Cherokee L have been eating into the company's bottom line. Stellantis bet big on the idea that Jeep could transition into a luxury market player, but the gamble isn't paying off. It's like watching a casino player go all in with a losing hand. They're throwing good money after bad, hoping for a miracle that just isn't going to happen. And it's not just Stellantis feeling the pinch. The entire supply chain is affected. Parts suppliers, advertising agencies, and dealerships are all struggling to cope with the fallout from Jeep's failed luxury strategy. The ripple effects are widespread, and the longer Stellantis clings to this flawed plan, the worse it's gonna get for everyone involved. Why customers are choosing competitors. The stark reality is that Jeep's luxury push has driven its traditional customers straight into the arms of its competitors. Take the 2024 Lexus TX priced around $70,000. It's not just a better value, it's a smarter choice for anyone looking for a genuine luxury experience. Lexus, Audi, and BMW offer vehicles that are refined, meticulously designed, and backed by decades of luxury branding. These brands don't need to convince customers that they're high-end because they've already earned that reputation. Jeep, on the other hand, is trying to buy its way into the luxury market with higher prices and superficial upgrades. The problem is that consumers aren't easily fooled. They can see that a Grand Wagoneer, despite its hefty price tag, is just a glossier version of a Jeep SUV. It doesn't have the same allure or exclusivity as a BMW X7 or a Mercedes GLS. In fact, customer surveys are showing a growing preference for established luxury brands over Jeep. When asked why they chose a Lexus or an Audi over a Jeep, respondents cited brand reputation, build quality, and the driving experience as their top reasons. Jeep simply can't compete in these areas, no matter how much Stellantis tries to dress up its models. The dealer's dilemma: moving unsellable inventory. Let's talk about the real victims of Stellantis' misguided strategy, the dealerships. Across the country, Jeep dealers are stuck with high-end models that they can't move, no matter how deep the discounts go. The Grand Wagoneer has become a nightmare for sales teams, with some models sitting on the lot for over 6 months. This is a disaster in the automotive world, where new inventory is expected to turn over quickly. Dealerships are now facing the tough choice of slashing prices just to get these vehicles off the lot, even if it means taking a loss. Imagine this scenario: a dealership marks down a Grand Wagoneer by $20,000 and it still doesn't sell. Why? Because even at a discount, it's still an overpriced Jeep, and customers aren't willing to spend luxury prices for a brand that doesn't have a luxury image. This isn't just hurting the dealer's profits, it's damaging their relationship with Jeep's traditional customer base. The typical Jeep buyer feels alienated by these new, overpriced models. They're coming in looking for the rugged, affordable vehicles they've always loved, only to be met with price tags that are completely out of their range. It's driving loyal customers away and causing frustration among dealership staff who are trying to make sales targets with vehicles no one wants. The perception problem: Jeep can't shake its image. The core issue is simple: Jeep can't escape its brand image. For decades, Jeep has been the brand of choice for adventurers, off-road enthusiasts, and those who value durability over luxury. Trying to reposition it as a high-end luxury brand is like trying to convince people that a pickup truck is a sports car. It just doesn't work, because the image is too deeply ingrained. Even with all the marketing dollars Stellantis is throwing at this effort, they can't seem to change public perception. Customers still see Jeep as the maker of rugged SUVs, not luxury vehicles. And when people are shopping for luxury, they aren't thinking about Jeep. They're thinking about brands like Range Rover, Porsche, and Cadillac. A recent market analysis by Consumer Reports highlighted this exact problem. It showed that over 65% of potential luxury car buyers didn't even consider Jeep when making their purchase decision. When asked why, the overwhelming response was that Jeep doesn't offer the level of prestige and refinement they're looking for. In other words, the brand's image is working against it, and Stellantis has no clear plan for overcoming this hurdle. Stellantis' failure to adapt. One of the most glaring issues with Stellantis' strategy is its stubborn refusal to adapt to market feedback. Instead of recognizing that their luxury push isn't resonating with customers, they're doubling down on it. They've poured more money into advertising, pushed dealers to stock even more high-priced models, and expanded the lineup of luxury features in their SUVs. But it's all for nothing if the core problem isn't addressed. Jeep isn't seen as a luxury brand, and trying to force it into that mold is a losing battle. Every day that Stellantis continues this strategy, they're sinking deeper into a financial hole and pushing more customers away. The luxury market is built on trust, reputation, and a consistent brand image, none of which Jeep has cultivated. The final question is, how long can Stellantis keep this up before they're forced to pivot back to what Jeep does best? Time is running out, and if they don't change course soon, the fallout could be catastrophic not just for Jeep, but for the entire Stellantis group. Jeep's identity crisis, losing its core audience. One of the biggest mistakes Stellantis has made is failing to understand what the Jeep brand actually stands for. For decades, Jeep has been synonymous with rugged durability, off-road capability, and a spirit of adventure. It was the go-to brand for drivers who wanted a vehicle they could take on a dirt trail, through the mountains, or into the wilderness. But now, with this luxury push, Jeep is turning its back on that legacy. It's as if the company has forgotten who its real customers are. Jeep's core audience isn't looking for luxury, they're looking for reliability, toughness, and the ability to go anywhere. When these customers walk into a dealership and see a Grand Wagoneer priced at over $100,000, it's not just surprising, it's a betrayal. It feels like the brand they trusted and loved has sold out, abandoning its roots in a desperate attempt to appeal to a different market. This identity crisis isn't just confusing customers, it's pushing them away entirely. Jeep's legacy versus the reality of luxury. Let's take a moment to look at what Jeep used to be and why it's so hard for customers to accept this new direction. Jeep's history dates back to World War II, when it was a symbol of American ingenuity and resilience. The original Jeep was built to be tough, reliable, and capable of handling the harshest conditions. Over the years, models like the Wrangler became cultural icons, celebrated for their ability to conquer off-road trails and handle anything nature could throw at them. Now, Stellantis wants to turn this rugged, go-anywhere brand into a luxury status symbol. But here's the problem. Luxury isn't just about high prices and fancy features. It's about refinement, exclusivity, and a consistent brand image. Luxury brands like Mercedes-Benz, BMW, and Lexus have spent decades perfecting their vehicles and building a reputation for quality and prestige. Jeep, on the other hand, has always been the practical choice, the brand for people who value substance over style. Trying to flip that script overnight isn't just ambitious, it's reckless. Competitors are watching, and they're winning. While Jeep flounders with its luxury experiment, its competitors are quietly reaping the benefits. Brands like Toyota, Lexus, and Land Rover have remained true to their core identities, and it's paying off. Toyota, for example, has kept its focus on reliability and practicality, making it the top choice for customers looking for an SUV they can trust. The Toyota 4Runner, priced significantly lower than the Grand Wagoneer, continues to be a favorite among off-road enthusiasts because it delivers what Jeep once promised: capability, reliability, and value. Lexus, on the other hand, has positioned itself perfectly in the luxury SUV market. The 2024 Lexus RX and TX models are selling well because they offer a real luxury experience without trying to be something they're not. Lexus doesn't need to convince customers it's a luxury brand. It already is. Meanwhile, Jeep is trying to force its way into this market with overpriced models that customers simply don't see as genuine luxury vehicles. Land Rover, another strong competitor, has also maintained its focus on blending luxury with off-road capability. The Range Rover offers a premium experience that still feels authentic to its brand's heritage. When buyers look at a Land Rover, they see a vehicle that combines sophistication with adventure, a balance that Jeep is failing to strike. The result? Jeep's traditional customers are switching to competitors who understand their needs better, while high-end buyers continue to gravitate towards established luxury brands. The resale value problem, a red flag for buyers. Another issue that Stellantis seems to have overlooked is the long-term perception of value. Luxury cars typically have higher resale values because they're associated with quality and exclusivity. Brands like BMW, Lexus, and Mercedes-Benz consistently rank high in resale value because buyers know they're getting a well-made, desirable product that holds its worth over time. In contrast, Jeep's new high-priced models are already showing signs of poor resale performance. According to recent data from Kelley Blue Book, the resale value of the Grand Wagoneer has dropped significantly, even as new models are still rolling off the production line. This isn't surprising. Customers simply don't view Jeep as a luxury brand, and when they go to sell their high-end models, they're finding that the market agrees. This poor resale performance is a red flag for buyers. It's one thing to pay a premium price for a luxury vehicle if you know it will hold its value. It's another thing entirely to drop over $100,000 on a Jeep, only to find out a few years later that it's worth far less than expected. This issue is further damaging Jeep's already fragile attempt to enter the luxury market, as savvy buyers are steering clear of models that won't provide a good return on their investment. A brand at war with itself. What we're witnessing with Jeep is a brand at war with itself. On one hand, you have the traditional rugged Jeep models like the Wrangler and the Cherokee, which still appeal to the brand's core audience. On the other hand, you have the new luxury models, which feel like they were designed for a completely different customer, a customer who, by all indications, doesn't actually exist. Stellantis is trying to straddle two very different markets, and it's not working. The result is a disjointed lineup that confuses customers and dilutes the brand's identity. Instead of doubling down on what made Jeep great, Stellantis is spreading itself thin, trying to be all things to all people. This is a classic case of a company losing its focus and paying the price for it. The confusion extends to the marketing as well. Jeep's recent ad campaigns have tried to position the Grand Wagoneer as a luxury vehicle, but the messaging feels forced and out of touch. They focused on premium features like leather interiors and advanced infotainment systems, but they're missing the bigger picture. Customers aren't looking at a Jeep for luxury, they're looking at it for durability, capability, and the freedom to go off-road. By ignoring this, Stellantis is alienating its base and failing to win over new buyers. Where does Jeep go from here? At this point, the big question is, where does Jeep go from here? Stellantis has a choice to make. They can continue pushing their flawed luxury strategy, hoping that consumers will eventually come around, or they can pivot back to what made Jeep successful in the first place. The longer they wait to make this decision, the more damage they're doing to the brand. If Stellantis wants to turn things around, they need to refocus on Jeep's strengths. Instead of trying to compete with luxury giants, they should lean into the rugged off-road image that Jeep is known for. They need to invest in making their vehicles more capable, more reliable, and more affordable. That's what the Jeep customer wants, and it's what the brand has always stood for. Time is running out for Stellantis to make this pivot. The luxury SUV market is crowded, and Jeep simply doesn't have the reputation or the product to compete at the high end. But in the mid-range and off-road segments, Jeep still has a strong foothold. If Stellantis can recognize this and adjust their strategy accordingly, there's still hope for a turnaround. The warning signs, market feedback. Stellantis can't ignore. By now, the message from the market should be loud and clear. Jeep's attempt to transform itself into a luxury brand is failing. The data doesn't lie. Sales for the Grand Wagoneer, Grand Cherokee L, and other high-priced models have been consistently disappointing. Despite aggressive marketing campaigns, 0% financing offers, and hefty dealer incentives, customers simply aren't biting. It's a warning sign that Stellantis can't afford to ignore. The problem goes beyond just poor sales figures. It's about brand perception, customer loyalty, and long-term viability. Jeep has built a legacy on being the rugged, go-anywhere vehicle that people could depend on. The Wrangler and the standard Cherokee still resonate with this image, but the new luxury models feel disconnected from the brand's core values. This disconnect is why customers are choosing competitors, because when they want luxury, they go to Lexus or BMW, and when they want rugged capability, they turn to the traditional Jeep models they've trusted for years. Stellantis's gamble, a high-stakes bet that's failing. Stellantis took a huge gamble by trying to push Jeep into the luxury market, and right now, it's clear that this bet isn't paying off. They've poured millions into rebranding, factory upgrades, and marketing, but the return on investment has been dismal. It's a classic case of a company trying to be something it's not, and the costs are piling up. Financial analysts are already sounding the alarm. The longer Stellantis sticks to this luxury strategy, the more they risk damaging Jeep's overall brand equity. It's a slippery slope. Every day that high-priced models like the Grand Wagoneer sit unsold on dealership lots is another day of lost revenue, increased inventory costs, and mounting frustration among dealers. Even worse, it's eroding the trust of loyal Jeep customers who feel abandoned by the brand they once loved. Dealers are calling it a crisis in the making. The dealerships are the front lines of this battle, and they're not holding back their frustration anymore. Many Jeep dealers are openly expressing concern about the direction Stellantis is taking. They're being forced to stock expensive models that they know will be hard to sell. And even with deep discounts, these vehicles are lingering on the lot. Dealers have reported that when potential buyers come in looking for a Jeep, they're shocked by the high prices. They expect rugged capability, not luxury features at premium prices. The disconnect between what Stellantis is offering and what customers actually want is glaring, and it's creating a rift between the company and its dealer network. If Stellantis doesn't pivot soon, they risk losing the support of the very people who are supposed to be selling their cars. The future of Jeep, time to reconnect with the core identity. It's time for Stellantis to face reality and accept that the luxury strategy isn't working. If they want to save Jeep, they need to return to the brand's roots. Forget the chrome trim, the oversized infotainment screens, and the leather upholstery. What Jeep needs to focus on is what it does best, building tough, dependable, off-road vehicles that appeal to the everyday adventurer. The Wrangler is a perfect example of what Jeep should be aiming for. It's iconic, it's reliable, and it has a devoted fan base. Rather than trying to force a luxury narrative that doesn't fit, Stellantis should double down on the elements that make Jeep unique, invest in better off-road technology, enhance the durability of the vehicles, and keep the pricing accessible. That's how Jeep can win back its loyal customers and start to grow its market share again. If Stellantis continues down this current path, they're in danger of permanently damaging the Jeep brand. The luxury SUV market is already crowded with heavyweights like Mercedes-Benz, Lexus, and Range Rover, and Jeep simply doesn't have the pedigree to compete at that level. But in the mid-range, off-road market, they still have a chance to dominate if they're willing to pivot and focus on what their customers actually want. Where does Jeep go from here? And that brings us to the big question. Where does Jeep go from here? The writing is on the wall. all. This luxury experiment isn't working, and it's time for Stellantis to rethink its strategy. The longer they stick to this misguided plan, the more damage they're doing to one of the most iconic brands in automotive history. Jeep needs to get back to its roots, embrace what made it successful, and stop pretending to be something it's not. We've seen what happens when brands lose sight of their identity, and it's rarely a pretty picture. Jeep still has a loyal fan base and a strong brand image in the off-road segment, but if Stellantis keeps pushing this luxury narrative, they risk losing it all. It's time for a course correction before it's too late. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Jeep's current predicament, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We've got plenty more insights, industry analysis, and controversial takes coming your way. Let us know in the comments what you think. Should Jeep double down on luxury or go back to its rugged roots? Until next time, drive safe, and remember, not every SUV is built for the road ahead.